Morning, everyone. Welcome to this EURHODIP webinar. So we'll try to deal with a webinar between Benjamin and myself. So we'll try to do the moderator part, and Benjamin will do the expert part. Okay. So what we suggest to do it in a better way. So try to have your micro switch off only when you want to participate. Just activate your micro. I'm sorry if there is some noise because my neighbor decided to this morning to just break a wall. So sorry. So you might hear some like boom, boom, boom. So sorry for that. Yeah. So to avoid such kind of problem, just shut your micro off, and when you need to participate, just switch it on. Okay. If you don't mind, this session will be recorded. Okay. So that we be able to share with all the members and to send it to you also if you want to share with your colleagues and so on. Okay, so instead of having to make a report, you can say, okay, watch the video and there is all the information. Okay, so no need to take notes. Okay, everything will be available after. So to start, basically, what's the idea of being in EURHODIP for you? I think that the idea is to be able to share network, share experience, share something. And currently, we are all facing one same situation, the COVID-19 pandemic. So that's the idea. When we had an executive board meeting like 3 weeks ago, and Benjamin said, I think that from EURHODIP, we should try to prepare something just to gather our members and to try to have some answers or element of answers to the several question we are facing. Okay, so one common point, one common goal. So that's why we created this webinar. Okay, so sincerely, we don't have the knowledge, we don't have all the answers. Okay, but the idea of this webinar is just to try to put the main lines. Okay, and just share all together some things you have been doing in your schools, in your university, in your countries, because we have people coming from Armenia, Spain, Slovenia, Montenegro, Russia, Uruguay, Switzerland, Spain, France, Portugal, and once more, Sefket director, which country do you come from?
North Cyprus.
And North Cyprus. Okay, so we are a dozen of countries here. So each countries has a different way to face the situation with different rules and so on. Okay, so the idea of this webinar is not to give you answers, but just to set questions, element of answers, and share the knowledge all together. Okay, so the webinar will be scheduled in 3 parts. Okay, so we'll work on 3 main axes. Okay, so Benjamin, if you want perhaps to...
Yes. So 3 main axes. The first part will be about the problem in the schools. When we talk about the schools, we said teachers and staff, how we deal with their issues. The second part will be about parents. How can we deal with the parents' issue when they are worried about the future of their kids? And the last part is maybe the most important, about the students, how we deal with the students in this COVID-19 pandemic. Once again, we want this webinar to be an exchange of practices. I will just give you some items and some themes about to discuss about, and then we will see and share our best practices. The goal of this webinar is not to make politics as well. We know that from any country that we are from, the situation could be very, very difficult, very, very different and more or less difficult. It depends on the sanitary situation. And we don't face the pandemic the same way from one country to another. So please don't make politics. It's not the goal of this webinar. We are just school director. We work in schools, and we teach hotel management, we teach hotel practice, we teach all tourism industry topics. So this is what it's about, how we deal with this COVID-19 issue. The context is that our industry, the tourism and hospitality industry, is slightly destroyed, let's say. It's not going very well. It's how to deal with this context plus the educational issues. So let's move to the first part, is the school. So as I told you, when we talk about the school, it's about the teacher and the staff. Maybe you have faced some problem because for instance, I will take the example of France. We are not allowed to welcome students physically in our schools. So we had to create new classes, new topics online using the all material that exists, all software that can exist. But it's not as easy as it seems, because as you know, you have some teachers that can be, I don't know, I don't want to be but maybe too old and are not used to use new technology. So how can we deal with this issue? Because when you are a teacher that have been teaching for, let's say, 30 or 40 years old, 30 years, the same way in classes with students in front of you, how can you deal with that? So, of course, many software exist, like Zoom that we are using today. There is like Microsoft Teams. I don't know many of them, but it's not here to discuss about what is the better or the best software, but how we can deal with this issue, how we can transform our classes online, and how did you deal, and how are you dealing with your teachers to make them change their way of teaching? It's totally different from a class that you do physically. This is the first thing, and the second thing is when the class is finished, then how you can assess the students, because usually the exam, the students are coming, they are on table, they are dealing with their papers, and they give back the papers afterwards, and you have just to assess the way you are used to do it. So how do you manage to deal with this issue in your class? And the third point is, maybe, I know it's different from one country to another, but that's how you deal with the health protocols that you have to implement in your school when you can welcome students. What's this protocol change in your daily life? How did you deal with that? Maybe you are not allowed to come to your school. Maybe you are just allowed to come 1 or 2 days, I don't know. And how do you deal with these issues? And the last thing is how you get your feedback from your teachers, how you can manage your faculty. You are school directors, so one of your main point is to manage human people, to manage teachers, is to manage your faculty. How do you deal with your faculty when they are not in the same office as you are, in the same premises? They are away, they are maybe at home, they are online. How do you manage to manage them the different way that you used to do? This is all these questions that maybe we can discuss about. I don't know if already some of you have some answers to propose to others and to share their maybe experiences about this. I don't know. If so, please raise your hand and feel free to let's say come on stage, if I could say so, or I mean just talk. I don't know.
Okay, just yeah, for those who want to participate, if you know how to manage the Zoom, you have like a small icon called reaction, so you can raise your hand, so it can be easier. Just raise your hand and they can give you the flow. Okay. Yeah, Tanya.
Hi, well, good morning to everybody. Yeah, I just wanted to give immediate feedback to Benjamin and the group. Slovenia has probably been in one of the toughest situations in the last year. So our school has been online for 17 weeks. We started first week of October, saw some groups of students, and as of October 10th, we closed up the school and went entirely online. We kind of expected that and had the chance to prepare a little bit over the summer because we knew that sooner or later the pandemic will close the schools. And our school has about 300 students, 2 study programs, full-time, part-time. We have 10 teachers from the school and 35 external collaborators. And the biggest challenge was to address them, to train them, teach them, empower them with tools, with knowledge, and give them an insight into different platforms that we would use for the duration of online teaching. Now, out of all the tools we had at our disposal, MS Teams was the streaming platform because our school did not receive Zoom gratis version, so we could only stick to 45-minute free Zoom, which of course doesn't work for lectures. But since in the previous years we used Moodle as one of the tools for online, let's say, library, we kind of had the combination. I have to admit that myself, after 15 weeks of teaching and two weeks of online examinations, all of us are exhausted because it takes about 3 times as much to prepare, plan, coordinate, and especially what Benjamin said, follow up. Now, one option is to have a webinar, we meet, sit down, I talk for 4 hours, and then we meet again next week. But we don't want students to do that because we want them to feel engaged, to get the feeling for the school, to still be kind of involved. And if you do this, you need to give them assignments, you need to give them projects, you need to check this, evaluate, give them grades, give them feedback, talk to them. And that is what was the most exhausting situation the first semester. So that is what took evenings, nights, and weekends. And it's something that we could not transfer to the Ministry of Education that thought, well, you know, you'll just go online and do your lecture online and that's it. Well, it doesn't work that way. So our biggest efforts were directed towards teachers and our external audiences. And we had regular bi-weekly meetings. We gave them IT support, somebody who was behind the computer, answered everything, answered the phone, supported classrooms, helped them log in. I mean, we still have teachers who are 65 and older, teachers of professional subjects who might be already retired, but still cooperate with schools because of their vast knowledge. And this is another situation. Now you need to help them set up, install programs. And that was one of the biggest challenges. Well, so far for me for now.
Tanya, for your testimony. It's very interesting, and I think you point the very precise thing is to change our, let's say, way of doing that we used to do. I mean, we have to change our way of teaching. We have to change our way of managing people. It's totally different. And I think this is our challenge that we have to face every day. It takes more time. It takes new skills. You need new skills. Maybe you don't do the same way, and it's sometimes very difficult for many people. Yes, Mr. Ernest, Switzerland.
Hello, everybody. Well, I wanted to thank Tanya for her feedback because this is quite important, all what she said. And I feel that we all are encountering the same problems. What I would like to add to her, well, obviously, we have been closed as well for so many weeks. Obviously, we encountered the same problem with choosing the technology, and we are also on MS Teams. Obviously, I totally agree that we are all exhausted because it takes much more time and investment, personal investment by all faculty. 2 things I would like to add is, well, the 3 things. The first one is the psychological weakness of our students. because we are all weak, and even myself, when I'm waking up in the morning, sometimes, you know, I'm just telling, why getting out of the bed now? So this is pretty hard, and some students are really deeply suffering.
Yes,
So
we'll
that's
talk
one
about
thing.
the students
Okay,
later on.
sorry. So I'm coming back to MS Teams then.
And teachers, please.
Okay, I'm coming back to MS Teams and the faculty and the communication. So two things on top of what Tanya said. On top of MS Teams, this is just a tip, because we searched how we could improve the reactivity or the interactivity in the classes, and we bought those famous Logitech camera. So we're having microphones that are giving an atmosphere plenum situation, and the cameras that are just making the action of the teachers much more vivid, because it can focus on the teacher, it can focus on the screen. So it's much better than just being behind the computer screen. You can focus also on the whiteboard, for instance, and you see the teachers writing and whatsoever. So it's just plug in software, connect it with MS Teams, and it gives that reaction. Another thing that we did, because we are also in the same situation that the students cannot have presential courses since September now, what we did is we are renting, well, we are campus as well, and we are renting our classrooms. Here in Switzerland, the law is that this is a maximum 5 people reunions, so being together. But we're helping those students who are on campus by letting them rent our classrooms by groups of 5. And so with the camera being more interactive and dynamic and having a kind of social relation during the courses, obviously they need to wear the mask, we're having 2 meters between the students and so forth, but at least it gives them a little kind of social presence. Well, that's 2 tips that I give you, because it worked fine and it helped a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dominique.
Thank you.
Anyone
Thank
else?
you very much.
So any reaction after Tanya and Dominique's reactions? Oh.
Okay.
Okay. So perfect. So,
very interesting anyway. Very interesting.
Thank you very much.
So I hope that maybe with all these tips, and maybe because of the pandemic and the things that we have to implement with our faculty and staff, maybe we will try to, in the future, take advantage of this new way of thinking, new way of teaching, new way of managing people. Maybe we can, it will be inspiring for the future. I hope so, that we'll not see all these changes as drawbacks and negative things, but maybe some things that we have to implement because we have to, and we must do. These things will be something that we can rely on in the future. So if you don't have any other comments or sharing experience now, maybe we can move to the parents part. Because when we talk about the school, usually we talk about the teachers and the faculty and the students, but we often forget about the parents. I think most of you are parents and have kids maybe that are in the higher education system now and they are studying. And I share my own experience here in France. We see that the parents usually send their kids to study hotel management or tourism because it was an industry that was very increasing, and where we can find out jobs very easily when you finish your studies. It's no longer the case. Hope it will not last a long time, but till now it's a nightmare to work in the hotel and restaurants, because hotels are in France are open, but there's no one, no clients, no customers, so it's difficult to run such business. The restaurants are closed. So usually students can find on weekends to work in restaurants, some jobs to wait or and so on, but it's no longer the case. So the parents were used to listening to a little music that said that if you work in the hospitality industry, if you work in the tourism industry, you will find out a job very easily. So it was something that makes them very confident when their kids wanted to study such field. It's no longer the case. So I think we face a problem is how to make the parents be confident again in sending their kids, their children in this kind of studies. I think this is very important because they see everywhere in the news that the industry is decreasing. So this is something that we have to keep in mind. And the second part about the parents is also about I think we have to focus maybe on some the parents for the first year students and the last year students, because in the first year students they have to make this decision to send their kids to study such a field, and in the last year students they have to be confident in the future of their kids. So this is in France what we have to face as problem. Tanya made already a comment. Please, Tanya, if you want to open your microphone and talk about it.
Yes, probably. As opposed to majority of the other schools, we are tertiary education, a college. Students are 19 years and older, and thank God there are no parents to consider, because that's their free will to study, and we at least have one group less to worry about. So that's
it makes a huge difference, definitely. Yeah. For any school who have to deal with the problem of the parents, perhaps would you like to share how you're dealing with the situation? Yeah, Dominique.
Sorry, I was muted. I just realized. No much to add. I appreciate what Tanya said. We are in the same situation. They are major students, but still, when you look at the red spot on the European map, which is representing Switzerland, they are extremely scared. Two things. Well, you know, even if I shouldn't deal with, I received every day quantity of mails from the parents asking for questions. And so I try to reinforce the communication of the students towards the parents. So we establish, well, by chance, the point before as well, Benjamin wanted to say something. The communication is for me essential. And so what we establish is, if it wasn't really done or properly done, we re-established a faculty committee and a student committee, having representing people from each classes. And we're meeting obviously by teams, but we're meeting every week. So it's not a compulsory meeting, and any students can join. They cannot raise their voice, they cannot ask questions because the delegates are just representing them, but they can attend. And there we have been writing minutes. We have been writing emails to those people to answer the general questions and the evolution with the politics, with the rules established in Switzerland and whatever, because we are a federal country, which makes it very difficult, because we're having federal rules that comes from Bern, and you're having canton rules, which are led by Sion, and sometimes they're not even supporting each other. So it creates really an anxiety here to know, hey, where am I? What am I doing? And how should I answer those questions? And by having those weekly communications and generic emails that the students can forward to their parents, it slowly stopped down the parents contacting us directly, because it reassures them it is a message coming from the school with reference to politics. And I even link sometimes the political sites and the information sent by the government here and so forth. And so basically, when it is translated in English, obviously, because sometimes it's coming in German and it's not very useful, but having this really regular communication has been helping a lot, I feel.
Thank you very much. Yeah, definitely a good idea to keep in touch with the parents.
Yes.
Yeah, perhaps Daniela, perhaps would you like to add something about the relation with the parents and son you're dealing with in the school?
Yes, thank you, Guillaume. So for us, we don't have the same luck that Tanya in this case, because we do receive different questions and inquiries from the parents, because they are very worried about the situation, very worried about the possibility of their children, of their to do internships in the near future. So this is the focus of the questions of the parents and also of the students. We are doing different meetings with our students to try to keep the positive mind about their reincorporation of these internships this summer. So it's very difficult for them because they didn't have the opportunity last summer, and this summer we don't have the situation very clear at this moment. So I think it's normal. It's normal for them to be worried at this time, and also the parents, because it's a very important talking about the internship and also of the program, because we are the students are with us here in the school from the 28th of September. The months before we do have the online education, but we since 28th of September we came back to the school. They are here with us every day, and it's a situation that we need to manage with two rules and things that we have to do to keep the presentiality in the school, because it's very difficult, the situation with the COVID. But yes, we do receive questions from the parents, but we try to do meetings with the students so they can translate this information to the parents, and we need to express positive about all the situation, hoping this summer we can resume the activity in the external collaborators, hotel, restaurants, and that's our situation in Sevilla.
Thank you very much, Daniela, to share your.
I think Daniela points something very important that can make the bridge between the parents' part and the last part from the students that will go on now, is the health of the students that maybe make worried the parents. I understand that, for instance, at Vatel in France, the students come when they are 18 years old and up, but since the parents are worried because they pay for that private school, so it's expensive, so they are worried about how much they pay and if they will get return on investment afterwards. And the most important is they are worried about the health of their children, because in France classes are online but exams are in presential, so they are all worried with all the health protocols that we have to face. And I know that in Seville, as Daniela said, the students can come to school to follow their classes. So I can imagine that parents are quite worried about their children not to get the COVID-19 or to get sick, or I don't know. So I think this is the point. So I think it's a good way to move to the last part of this about the students. And I think everyone will be, I think everyone will agree about the main concern that we have with the, the success of our students and the problem of to limit school failure, because how the student can come to school and have online classes. We talk about the teachers that maybe have to change their way of teaching, but I think the students are as well, even if they are young, even if if they get used very quickly with the new technology, they have to think about learning another way that they used to do. And I think we have some example in France of school failure because students are alone at home. They are not obliged to follow their classes, and the follow-up is more difficult than we do when they come to school, because if they are late, if they are absent, it's more difficult to check, and even it's more difficult to check if they understand everything on the online classes. And I think this is a very, very important point that we have to discuss. I don't know how you deal with this issue, what you implement in your school to limit this school failure. I know that in France, we try to call the students, we try to keep a relation between the school and the students, but sometimes it's difficult. And the assessment has to change also. And it's a tricky situation because, you know, the students want to succeed, so maybe they cheat and they don't understand. It's more I mean, it's easier to cheat on exam or on classes when you are online, because we don't know what the student is doing behind his computer, for instance. And we see at the end that at the final exam, when they come to class, they failed the exam because they didn't get what was the class about. So this is, I think, very important part. The second part I wanted to share with you is we are in industry that need practical training. Daniela talked about the internship, and we also have the practical training that we do in some classes, you know, in restaurants, in the daily life. How you deal with the internship? How do you deal with the training and the practical training part? How do you integrate this issue in your schools? For instance, in France, we change the dates of internship. We postpone internships. We try to send the students in some hotels that are open, but they cannot go abroad to do their internship because the borders are closed for most of countries, or it's difficult to move from one country to another. So maybe it would be very interesting if you can share your experiences about this, about how to limit the school failure and how to continue to train in the practical part in your school, in your country, and how you deal with the legal issues as well, because you know in your country, but in France, the restriction has changed very, very often. I mean, from 1 week you are allowed to do so, 2 weeks afterwards you are not allowed to do so. So how you manage to change very, very quickly to and to send the communication and to send the information to your students so that they feel confident and they can follow properly the classes. So I don't know if you have some issue about this. And the last one, the last point that's very, very important is the psychological support that you can give to your students, because I think it is one of the most important things is their health. Besides the COVID-19 issue itself, this is the sickness, is how you deal with the psychological support of your students during this period of time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Isabel, you raised your hand while Benjamin was speaking. Would you like to?
Yes. Yes. I think we have to begin to think in a different way, because internships are really important, but we don't know when they are going to be back. So, well, we teach gastronomy. That's easier than hotel management, I imagine, because everybody cooks at home. So, yes, we began to do the practices at home at the first semester. And I'm in the South Hemisphere, so we had already 2 semesters of COVID teaching, and that worked okay. Now we have the practices with people in the school, at the school, but we decided that the theoretical classes continue online. We managed to make a new way to make qualifications, to grade the students with a method that is, the name is evaluación continua, continued evaluation. I don't know the name in English, but sorry?
Yeah, please follow.
Yes, and we evaluate, we grade the students at every class. We have every lesson, every day. Every day we say what we are going to speak about at the next class, and we give some things to read, and then at the following class at the beginning, the teacher begins with questions, and he knows who of the students read the stuff and who didn't. So I think it's we have to begin to think in new ways, completely different. Exams are useless. You can make an exam because it's okay, it's traditional, the student feels that he's evaluated, but the real evaluation goes in other ways, I think.
Yeah, so as Benjamin pointed out about the problem of cheating being from home, for example. So you say, okay, so to solve this problem, we're just working as a continued evaluation. So we don't have this kind of problem. It's more the attitude and how the student is during the class. So yeah, no, it's a good.
Yes, cheating is always there, but but it's easier to evaluate every class, and you know if the student is following or not. That's the idea.
Definitely. Thank you very much, Isabel.
Thank you.
Tanya, you wanted to add something, perhaps?
Yes, actually quite a lot. Now we are a vocational college, and this means that in the first year, 1/3 of all our activities is practical in specialized classrooms, and in the second year, half of them are practical. Having been online for 70 weeks, this whole practical aspect falls away. But what was for us the biggest challenge is that our school has for the last 2 years always worked on a lot of student projects. So we would give them hands-on experience and include them through interdisciplinary approach through 2, 3, 4 subjects perhaps, to prepare documentation for an event that was then at the end carried out also with help of students. All of that is gone. And the first generation was only in school first week, so they didn't have a chance to get to know us, get to know the school, get the feeling for the school, and get to know each other. And all of these teamwork activities are a bit more challenging because they've only seen each other online. So for 2-year schools, it's a special challenge because they will not really have a chance to mix and mingle and discover the full potential I believe they have. Now, you were talking about internships and practical training. Let's presume we are now mid-March, and starting with mid-March 2020, this is the first lockdown. So if we take the last 12 months, all hospitality businesses in Slovenia have been closed for 8 months out of 12. All of them. Our hotels might open for Easter, we are not sure. Our restaurants have been closed for 4.5 months. Nothing's open, no services, no, I don't know, spas, beauty studios, facials, nothing. So even if we wanted to, we have no chance to give our students any practical work, any practical training, because everything is closed and will remain closed for the next at least 1 month, if not 2. The biggest challenge we in Slovenia have is that at the moment, 45% of the unemployed are from the hospitality sector. That's the current numbers. A lot of them have reskilled. A lot of them went abroad to Austria because restrictions are less tough. And once things reopen, we'll face the biggest challenge of not having staff at all. But because of the lockdown for the last year, we have another challenge of how to attract students to study hospitality if they know that things will not get back to normal before 2024-25. So that for us in Slovenia is the biggest challenge at the moment.
Okay, thank you very much.
Tanya. If it is not good, very good news, thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, Paulo, I presume that in Portugal, the situation is also a bit worrying, complicated.
Hi guys. Yeah, it's quite like in Slovenia, and like Tanya just mentioned, we have the same problems. But now for us, the two main problems that we faced was not the learning issue, but the how can I express this? The student learn process. We are not sure about the contents and if they attain quite the goals that we expected they did at the end of the training period. So teachers and trainers are doing their jobs. One's better than the others, but they are doing their jobs. But we are not quite sure about the quality of the learning process that the students went along. So the results at the end of the training courses, we are quite, I am at least quite in doubt about it. So that's one of the issues that I'm concerned about. The second one is internships. We are really facing a 100% cut on acceptance. So we are trying to find out new approaches and new areas and new fields to have our students doing their trainings periods and their internships. So we are accepting them to go to nursing homes, to help firms to redesign their marketing plans, to everything that every places where they can help and they can put some of their knowledge they received during their training period somewhere where they can put it in practice. We are trying to accept that. So we need to rethink the things as well. If it's not the 500 hours period in straight moment, or all in one period, if we have to cut it in 2 or 3 periods, we will do it, because we want them to get into the market and to get into the internship, because internship is quite important for their skills. The first reaction we had was to change the internship period for kind of a thesis, a short thesis about different themes and issues on hospitality. But I think that doesn't work. So it's not the same thing. Will never be the same thing. So we needed to rethink where they can do their internships, how can they do it, and if the results and the outcomes it's similar, so we will accept it. But one of the main issues now is how to attract people. We are quite in this moment. We are preparing the March, so the spring intake of students, and we are already noticing the shortness of students. But for different reasons, the foreigner students wanting to come to study to Portugal, it's increasing, still increasing. So we are quite in the middle of a crossroad. We are not sure what to do about the situation, what to do with all these foreigner demand, and how to cope with it. But I think that the main issue is the quality of the learning process. We will see that in a few years when things get to the normal business as usual, and we will see that difference. I think that we'll have professionals and people working with a lack of somehow some skills and some knowledge, I would say.
Yeah, thank you very much, Paolo. I mean, I think that we have also to be aware. I mean, For example, I have a 10 years old daughter, and with the pandemic, so she didn't learn the same thing than she would have learned on a normal school day to day. Nevertheless, she discovered so many new things, and she would not have discovered that without the situation. So I think that we also have to be aware about that and to say, okay, obviously, we cannot teach them exactly the same skills as we were teaching before. But on another hand, they are learning something new, a different way to do things. We are all trying to think on a new way. So I think that's also something positive, you know?
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, I would like to know.
I agree. I agree with you. Of course, there was a change between the learning outcomes. Naturally, it's obvious because they need to they have access to different sources of knowledge. They have to understand things in a different way, inclusively. So all the practical issues, we just stop them, and we are preparing everything to be done at school when the interruption ends. But I think there is the issue that everybody feels. It's we are a people's industry for people. So this strong connection, team connection, team reaction, and sometimes when you're teaching the class, just you expect them to have to go in a certain direction, and somehow for another moment everything turns to the other direction, and you learn a lot with that unexpected turn. I think that we are not able yet to compensate that missing link. I would say.
No, for sure, for sure. Thank you, Ana Pereira. Yeah, you wanted to say something after Paulus.
Yes. Good morning to all of you. One of my major concerns is that our students are emotionally very fragile, and what attracts them to a hospitality school was the fact that it's a practical program, it's a practical classes, and they are so fed up with being having online classes that and some students, they just don't find the emotional strength to adapt to online education. So they have more difficulties to follow the classes, and they don't feel enthusiastic about having classes online. And they are just feeling that they are not learning the same. And we had the chance to have practical classes at school, but we are facing a lockdown since January 21st. So now we are all online, but I'm quite. We try to put in working some emotional support for our students, and now for our teachers too, because not only students are emotionally fragile, students are emotionally fragile as well. I think everyone is, and but it's open to everybody, but we cannot, how do you say, to touch everybody and to support everybody. So people have different needs, different concerns, and we are quite worried about it.
Yeah, I think you're pointing out exactly what Benjamin said about the psychological aspect of the students and the teachers and the team, because I mean we are all involved in that, and yeah, psychologically it's quite different. Tanya, you raise your hand.
Yes, just a quick recap of what's been said so far. I totally agree with Paolo. It's very difficult difficult to evaluate the knowledge, and it's obvious that they will not get the knowledge they would have normally gotten at school. We are trying hard to cook with them online, to do the barista online, to do whatever barman. It doesn't work. But what I wanted to say before I have to leave you as well is what really kept the students going and interested and motivated are the online competitions. So when we brought out the EURHODIP 2020, they were all, yeah, we want to compete and we want to do this and create things and be creative. So I think even if we have to remain in more or less digital or hybrid, what will keep them motivated and creative and innovative are these kinds of competitions. And if there was any chance to perhaps add another one to the existing portfolio, to say, well, you know, we'll be in plus minus lockdown until the end of whatever, the spring or the end of the winter. Let's create another digital competition. Let's give them a chance to show their knowledge and, you know, develop in this way. That would be quite helpful.
Oh, great. I mean, this kind of proposal from you and from any members basically are more than welcome, because, I mean, in EURHODIP, our paper is just to be here and try to help as better as we can. So, for example, if you consider that another competition would be very interesting for the student, just to enhance them on the common way, of course, we can try to organize something for springtime, obviously. So, no, thank you very much for the proposal, Tanya.
Yeah, we'll think about it. Perhaps do something that we are already carrying out at the Slovenian level to just make it international and select the Slovenian winner and then create an international platform for it.
Yeah, so Tanya, if you want, we can be in touch.
Absolutely.
Exactly, to try to prepare something. So definitely a good idea.
Good.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. I need to leave you now, so take care. Thank you for inviting me.
Take care.
Don Luis, you wanted to add something?
Sí, me traduces. Bueno, thank you very much, everybody. It's very enjoyable for me with this together en esta pequeña Europa que hemos creado.
So thank you very much all to being here in this small Europe we created all together.
Yo quisiera añadir tantas cosas que os he oído y agradecer a Benjamín su preparación y su explicación en este tema. Quisiera añadir dos pensamientos.
So after taking into consideration all your comments, first of all, I would like to thank Benjamin for all his input information. I would like to add two points.
Este año de pandemia a mí me ha enseñado mucho. Me ha obligado a trabajar muy concentrado en este pequeño estudio de mi casa.
Yeah, so in this last year, it absolutely changed my way to work. So I've been working the last year from home, which became my office.
Yo me he dado cuenta de que la pandemia ha añadido una mayor brecha, como venía diciendo en mis anteriores intervenciones a todos los amigos de EURHODIP. Ha añadido una brecha más profunda.
Yeah, as you may have seen, I've been speaking about that since the last years, about the digital gap, and with the pandemic, this gap is like every day deeper.
Porque ya no era una brecha entre el pasado y el futuro, ya no era una brecha tecnológica, ya no era solamente una brecha de carácter digital, sino que era una brecha en cuerpo y alma, sangrante.
Yeah, it's not like a proper gap as we considered before, like past and present, future, or digital gap. No, it's like a physical gap, a bloody gap.
Por tanto, me preocupaba mucho cómo tender puentes y estoy preocupado cómo unir el pasado con el futuro que se nos echa encima más rápido que nunca.
Yeah, and I'm basically worried about the future, how to make this bridge between the present and the unknown future. So how to build this bridge.
Entonces, he visto cómo los pensamientos de aquellos que verdaderamente nos sorprendían, como el Human Institute de Chicago y todos los pensadores del transhumanismo, a lo largo de este tiempo se producían realidades que no esperábamos tan pronto.
Yes, several years ago, people from the Human Institute of Chicago, with a transhumanism thing, yeah, had some thoughts, and wow, today they are reality, and we are not aware that they might become reality so soon.
Stephen Hawking decía que los humanos serían sobrepasados por las máquinas, y lo es.
Yeah, Stephen Hawking said like several years ago, yeah, humans will be outdated by the machines, and this is reality.
Elon Musk, que tiene 42 años y científico que trabaja en MIT, dice que la inteligencia artificial es nuestra mayor amenaza.
Yeah, and Elon Musk said, yeah, the artificial intelligence is our best threat.
Y Nick Boston, de 47 años, dice que nuestro destino depende de la máquina.
Yeah, and Nick Boston, 47 years old, says our future, our destiny just depends on machine.
Yo me resisto a todo eso.
So I want to fight against those ideas.
¿Por qué? Porque el ser humano tiene algo más que la inteligencia artificial, tiene la emoción.
And the human being is much more than artificial intelligence. We have emotion.
Y nuestros alumnos son educados en emociones.
And yeah, and we teach our students with emotions, basically.
La alegría, la tristeza.
Yeah, happiness, sadness.
El miedo, la ira.
Yeah, fear, angry.
Y el asco crean emociones que luego transformamos, incluso con la tecnología.
Yeah, and we transform all these feelings.
Entonces, tenemos que seguir transmitiendo una fe humanitaria.
Yes, so we have to continue to convey a human faith.
Por encima de la tecnología.
Yeah, and upon technology and everything, the most important thing is the human faith.
Y por supuesto un movimiento intelectual y cultural y una filosofía. Y por supuesto la historia del mundo, la historia europea.
Yeah. Philosophy, history, culture has to remain.
Debe dominar esta especie de educación de los tiempos en solo la tecnología, en solo la biología, en solo la máquina. Y así debemos de buscar abrirnos otro camino.
Yeah, we have to still looking for a new way to do, a new way to teach, to learn.
Nuestra cultura europea llora, ríe, se desarrolla. En cambio, esa cultura tecnológica fría, irracional, ha puesto toda su ilusión en conquistar mediante la vacuna la salud, necesita también conquistar la memoria, el alma de la vida, porque si no, no habrá futuro en confianza en nuevos proyectos y estaremos supeditados al laboratorio.
Yeah, so basically, to sum up what Andres said is that we cannot only trust with the artificial intelligence and vaccine and so on. We need something more deeper, more personal, more human, basically.
Nada más, muchas gracias
Thank
por
you very much
vuestra
for coming today
confianza.
and for your trust. Thank you very much. Benjamin?
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think it's now time to conclude.
Exactly. So yeah, thank you all for your attention. So please, so here your Benjamin email and also mine. So please, if you think there is something we could do to help you from EURHODIP, sincerely, do not hesitate to email me and just to let us know in which way we could help you. For example, Tanya suggested a competition to enhance the students, so we'll try to work on that for the spring. So any idea, suggestion you might have, please feel free just to email me and we'll try to help you as much as we can. So thank you very much all for coming.
Guillaume, Dominique speaking. I would like to thank you very much because a part of that we also very isolated, and this reunion that you organized today is really precious and really appreciated. That's also, I mean, sharing good practices and sharing even bad experiences help to realize that you're not alone in your corner, because we're all struggling, and thank you very much for that. Also to Benjamin, merci beaucoup.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for your kind words.
Merci.
Merci à vous. Yeah, anyone? I mean, feel free if you want just to say a few words. Feel free to.
Yes,
Daniela.
just a quick note. Thank you for this meeting, because as Dominic said, we with this meeting, we know that we are not alone with this problem that we are trying to solve as one, and we can realize that we all the students we are suffering the same. So I think we need to walk in the same direction, be very supported for our students, because they need to know that we are there for them, to keep pushing this change to take the normality, if we can, as soon as possible. So I thank you very much, because I feel very motivated with your ideas and feeling that we are not suffering this thing alone. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Daniela. Thank you. Muchas gracias. So thank you very much all for coming. I wish you all a good day. And as we already said, feel free to send any email and ask for anything you might need. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.